away.
Welcome everyone, welcome to our first episode of the channel 2 Tag for You. We're here to basically tell you guys a little bit more about what it's like to live in the Netherlands, what it's like to work in the Netherlands. So we'll be sharing information, nice stories, some interviews, and today's culprit is my colleague Tiffiny Dale.
Awesome, and thank you for having me, Viv.
You're very welcome. It's my pleasure. So first, can you introduce yourself shortly?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, always I'm told to do short and sweet because I tend to talk a little bit too much. So my name's Tiffiny Dale. I'm 24 years old. I'm originally from South Africa, which is probably a dead giveaway already. Go Bokke. So yeah, it was last year, June, July-ish. My boyfriend came to me and said, yeah, cool, there might be an opportunity for me to work in the Netherlands. And didn't think much of it at the time, and yeah, come December he had an offer through Xelvin, and in April he was due to start his job, which he's now been there for, can't believe how quickly the year's gone, already 7 months. We moved in March together with the help of Xelvin, and yeah, I started working for Xelvin as an international recruiter, and yeah, the rest is really history. So that's a brief all about Tiffiny.
Thank you very much. So you mentioned Xelvin a few times. Could you explain to me what is it that Xelvin did for you in the past, time when your boyfriend was transferring, and here? Could you tell me a little bit, what will you not forget that Xelvin did for you?
Honestly, yeah, I don't even know where to start what Xelvin did. Xelvin changed our lives. It's always quite daunting moving overseas, leaving your family, friends behind. Honestly, the life that you've known, because both my boyfriend and I didn't move too far from home. When we went to study, we grew up in Joburg, and then we only moved 45 minutes away from home to Pretoria, so it's about the furthest we've ever ventured. So yeah, a little bit daunting actually moving to a new country, and Xelvin made it so painless. You'll hear so many people who try to immigrate on their own. It's a headache and a half. Some of my friends moved to the UK, and what we went through, it's nothing. Had to send in a couple documents, and I'm currently sitting here loving my life. That's what Xelvin did for us. They made it so easy. They were so helpful. Any questions we had, they answered. And even beyond that, when my boyfriend started working, obviously, I had a job in South Africa. I came over to the Netherlands, and then I started looking for work. And my boyfriend's recruiter owed us nothing, or owed me nothing. I mean, my boyfriend was the candidate, not me. But he was so helpful. He helped me with my CV. He gave me some tips on how to look for jobs. And he has just been an absolute angel. Any questions that we had, he answered. And it's amazing how much Xelvin cares. And they really do try their best. As busy as what they are, trust me, now I know. Being on the inside, we really do love our job and care about what we do. And that was evident even before I was working at Xelvin. So Xelvin will always have a very special place in my heart.
That's great to hear. We're happy to hear that. And of course, we're very happy that eventually you joined the team. And all right, so you guys have been here since April?
March.
So, all right.
End of March.
So what was life living in the Netherlands up until now? What it's been like?
Oh, it's been a very exciting roller coaster. But obviously in the beginning, it's lots of things that you have to get used to, and really for us, strange things, just because it's things that you've had your whole life.
They're normal
and
for
us. It's like you don't know where to look. There's just so much going on, but cool things. So learning how to use a bus sounds ridiculous, but obviously, as South Africans would know, we don't have buses. Even before that, if I take a step back, learning how to use a train. Very interesting with 4 suitcases. never had to use a train in my life. Obviously, yeah, now that I know how to use the apps, which are so easy. I mean, we have an app for everything, just about.
It's very easy.
It is really, really easy. Once we learned how to use the bus, when we first came here, you're looking on the app on your phone, checking the stops. You don't miss your stop. Oh, now I know the stop so well. I can listen to music. It's like it just becomes normal. So there was a lot of adjusting that we had to do in the beginning, and also such stupid things a person stresses about. Like, oh my word, what plastic goes in what recycling, and when do they pick up this? How do I know when to put out what thing? It's like such silly things. Or where do we put glass? Oh, there's a bin for everything. It's honestly
That's
so
true.
simple. PMD's PMD, you learn about that really easily. There's a calendar for everything. Learning how to fill up my own car, that was exciting. Never done that before, but again, so easy. Using self-checkouts in the grocery stores.
Just seems so normal for us now. Even though sometimes, you know, what you say, the self-service, it went really, really fast. Suddenly it was just in every store.
Yeah.
But I can imagine if you're like not used to even fueling up your own car, that you're just like, what is this?
Yeah, you're like, which one do I, what button do I push, what do I do? Because we have petrol attendants.
Yeah.
And to the same effect, like in our grocery stores, you have the normal cashiers that scan for you, and we also have packers. Like, I've never packed my own plastic bag.
They did that as well.
They did that as well. So now, obviously, when you're buying groceries, now it's like, I would be fired if I was a packer because I just throw. But I mean, we repack obviously after. But yeah, it was just getting used to all these little things, and yeah, cycling. My boyfriend was a big cycler. I wasn't. And also that's because in South Africa you drive or you drive.
There's no
not-
option.
Yeah, there's not really another option. We do have a train, but it goes from Gauteng to Gauteng. Like, it only does really short distance within the province.
Okay.
So I don't really count that. I think I've been on the Gautrain twice, 3 times. So yeah, all of those like little things, just getting used to it. Once you've gotten used to it, it feels so normal. It's actually weird. I haven't felt like a foreigner
That's
since
good.
being here.
All right.
But that also could be because it's Brabant, right? Everybody's friendly in Brabant. If you're stuck in the shops and you don't know what you're doing, been there, done that. If you ask, sorry, can you please help me? Somebody's helping you, and it's normally always with a smile. I actually haven't encountered one unhappy person since I've been here.
That must be a good experience.
No, it's just been a good experience. And yeah, honestly, also, this is something I've never told you. In 5 years, my boyfriend and I had never been on holiday together. We always went like with family, but that's also because we studied at different universities. So holidays never really matched up. But also, okay, as a student, you don't really have money and you can't travel as freely as you can here. And yeah, since being here, I've already been to 4 countries.
Wow. Oh, that's cool.
So we've already been on multiple holidays together, whereas for 5 years we were never able to do that together.
That's actually really cool.
And
Is it the work-life difference that made it different, or is it also, I understand with the school and everything, but was that one of the reasons?
honestly, it's a combination of everything. So yeah, work-life balance, big difference. In South Africa, they say 9 to 5. It's not 9 to 5. You're going to probably work evenings. You're probably going to work the odd public holiday. You're probably going to work a bit into your leave. Like, there's never really, that separation between work and life. And unfortunately, what happens when you live to work, life passes you by. So there's never time to even if it wasn't a money thing, because obviously, South Africa is a little bit difficult to just summer travel anywhere, because it's huge. To drive from Johannesburg to Durban, which is another, KZN, KwaZulu-Natal, it's like 6 hours just to drive between those 2 provinces, whereas here you can drive to the other side of the country within 3 hours. If I drive an hour from here, I'm in Germany. If you drive an hour from here, you're in Belgium. It's a total different world. So your accessibility to travel, and also in terms of cost, like traveling here is much more affordable than what it is in South Africa. So even if you don't have let's say, some mega big rich man salary. You don't need to, because you can always afford to like do a little bit of saving and then go on a trip here and there. And it's local now. It's not international. To go to Germany is just, it's our neighbor.
Yeah, it is. It's really, really close. It's very central. It's very easy to travel, to move around. Like you said, in like 3.5 hours, you're at the most northern part of the Netherlands. So that's cool. All right. Okay, so there's a few differences that you already named. What would you say is the biggest difference, if you had to name one?
Biggest
between
difference.
South Africa and the Netherlands?
Honestly, work-life balance, and work culture in general. The way we are at work, the way my boyfriend is with his colleagues at work, it's something I don't even know how to have a basis for it. It's night and day, total different worlds, but in the best way. So South Africa, it very much, you go to work. It's not often that colleagues really mingle, get to know each other, and that's not the case here at all. I mean, here everybody really has an interest in your life and they want to get to know you. And we sociable within like working hours, but they kind of outside of working hours at the same time. Like
everybody's always curious what you're going to do on your weekend. So how was your weekend on the Monday morning, for instance, or how did you sleep, or do you have anything fun planned? We're very invested in our colleagues as well. That's true.
That's really nice. And I mean, even when my boyfriend started working, he said to me, "You won't believe I'm at an event." I'm like, "What do you mean you're at an event?" He's like, "No, they just threw this big work party, and everybody was just there socializing. There was food and drinks, and he's there socializing with his boss and all of his other colleagues, which in South Africa, unless it's like, let's say, an end of year function, that's it. You don't do that in South Africa at all. I mean, at Xelvin, we've been on a little holiday together, and it was really, really cool. On Fridays, we have our borrels and just catch up with each other, because you do enough talking about shop and work, and obviously during the week that, for us it's really important to also get to know each other. And we also do lunches together, which is not something you would even think of doing in South Africa. South Africa, you go with your little lunchbox and you sit in your corner and eat. You might kind of chat to your colleagues, every now and again or in passing, but it really is, the focus is work. Whereas here, I just find there's so much balance in everything, which is really nice. If I have to say one biggest difference, that's, and if you think of how long a person works in their lifetime, enjoying what you do in the environment that you're in just makes a world of difference, because you work for such a large portion of your life. It's really nice to
have a good environment, to like what you're doing. You really need to be sure about, this is what I want to do. And I guess the balance makes up for the bad days, or
100%.
All right. Nice.
I haven't even think I've had a bad day since I've been working here.
That's really, really cool.
You still get frustrated because,
of course, but that's part of the job. That's part of life. I mean...
But it's not like... I've not woken up a single day where I'd be like, oh, I have to go to work.
That's really good. Yeah.
I don't like waking up because I love to sleep, but that's just, I don't know, who I am. My boyfriend always says, I have to defrost in the mornings.
You have to defrost.
It's like when you open your computer and it's buffering. That's sometimes how my brain is. It's groggy and tired, and I just like warm bed. But I've never had a single day where I'm dreading going to work. I love coming to work. And I don't really care what I have to do on any particular day, because it's part of the job. Because the environment is the way it is, it's just a pleasure to come in every day.
Was it what you expected it to be?
Not at all. I don't know what I was expecting, but it's a total opposite. Like, obviously, I was probably, when people are like, work-life balance, because I'd never had that, I didn't really know what that meant.
You can picture it,
so I thought, okay, maybe that just means you don't work out of work time. But yes, obviously that's part of it, but it's so much more than that. And that comes from being social with your colleagues. That comes from just the way that your general day is structured, the benefits that you get working in a Dutch company. Like, they really care about who you are as a person, and like your health and your well-being, and it's very circular. It's a whole, they care about the whole package. It's not just you must do your job and do it well. Obviously that's expected of any job anywhere in the country, or anywhere in the world, not even in the country. But at the same time, they just care about aspects that normally people don't think about. And also, was not expecting to get as many leave days as we get. It's really nice. In South Africa, we got 15 a year.
Yeah, well.
And most people have that, even when they're working a bit more senior. Like, it's unheard of to get the number of days that we have.
It's important to have your rest day as well, especially if you're, the work that we do as well. It's sometimes it could be quite tiring, or it takes a lot of energy because you're dealing with people. And you want, at the end of the day, that you help someone. And then it's important to also be able to take your time off work.
But that's where the balance comes in as well. Like, I don't know, the Dutch have just waxed it. They've gotten it down to the T with having, and I mean, people here, when we work hard. And then when it's rest time, you rest. And when you come back from a holiday, you actually feel rested. So that whole balance just, I find, works really well. Wasn't what I expected to, because obviously you hear stories and you think, it can't really be that good.
No.
Or it can't really work like that. It really does. I have no complaints, genuinely.
All right, okay. And did you guys, when you moved over, or maybe you particularly, have any concerns? Like, I'm a little hesitant to move because, or was it just like,
time?
Let's go?
No, big time. Obviously, your biggest thing is, for me, it was convincing my parents because, naturally, in any case, as South Africans, we worry about everything. That's just, I don't know, how we programmed, I guess, and how we brought up. It's like, you can't just think about now, you're thinking about tomorrow, and then you're thinking about a couple years in the future, you're thinking about everything all at once. So, you tend to run around like a bit of a panic mechanic, and everything, it's like, it's quite overwhelming. So we had a lot of concerns, but it's also because I only ever lived in South Africa, so you don't really, as much as you can do research, you always wonder, is the research right? Are we going to be able to make it? Is it actually a good salary? Because again, it's like, to compare South Africa
very difficult.
To the Netherlands, like what I was earning in South Africa and what I'm earning now, night and day. But it's hard to compare because it's two totally different countries, two totally different economies. It was also like, how does gas work? Are we going to be able to afford gas? Are we going to be able to afford food? Am I going to find it? Honestly, I think that was my biggest thing, was am I going to find a job? Yeah. In South Africa, and I'm not even exaggerating, and you're going to be shocked, I looked for 2 years to find a job.
2 years?
2 years. I only found a job through contacts. It was by pure luck. I probably did over 400 applications in South Africa. I got quite far in a couple interviews for, we call it like a graduate program. So it's almost like a learnership. So you obviously work for the company for a set period of time, and then you get a certificate at the end of it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, our biggest challenge in South Africa is they've got unfair laws that are quite discriminatory, and that made it really hard as well. Yeah, so you have to be like a certain profile. It's not nice because honestly people should be judged for who you are, your abilities, your education, all of that, and that's how we are here.
Exactly.
Like, the only person that's going to keep you back here is yourself. Yeah. So if you're not putting in the work and you're not a nice person to be around, you can only blame yourself. If you're not doing your work and you're not being a team player, then you're probably not going to go so far. But that's all things you can work on because it's about you. Whereas in South Africa, they used to judge us for things that we can't change.
No, something that's really not up to you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm born the way I'm born. And
that's horrible.
It's sad that it is like that. And also some companies are just totally unrealistic. Like, you must have 3 million years work experience before and you're applying for an entry-level role.
A sheep, right?
Yeah, no, you must be a unicorn, or in Dutch we say a sheep with 5 legs, but like, it's something that doesn't exist. They have unrealistic expectations, and all of that was quite traumatic, actually getting a job. So coming from that, and yeah, I probably talked my boyfriend's ear off about it. I'm like, but am I going to get a job? But am I going to get a job? And because that's the biggest thing every South African worries about, even in South Africa, because we don't have the greatest employment rates. Our unemployment rate's quite high. There's not a lot of opportunities in general, and coupled with the fact that we have these discriminatory laws and regulations,
It's not a good match.
No, it's not a good match. And yeah, it's really hard to beat the system when it's doing everything to beat you.
Mm-hmm.
And coming here, I was so worried about it, but yeah, it's like a month or two or whatever the case might be, and now I'm sitting here. Actually, every single partner that came over that I know of that are now our South African friends, and they all are friends because they came through Xelvin, and we kind of just, that birds of a feather, just we have a South African group now, and all the partners are working. So if you're open to doing something that's maybe not exactly what you studied or like exactly what you had previous experience in, there's so many jobs here. And the reason I say not exactly what you studied or whatever, it's just more because there's so many different jobs here that don't even exist in South Africa. I've never even heard of half of these jobs that you have here.
Yeah.
And your degree's a lot broader than I think people realize, and your qualifications and who you are. You can fit into so many different roles.
Yeah.
That I think was our biggest concern, is also just understanding the money, because rand versus euro, you can't even begin to try and equate them. So it was, obviously all those things you worry about, and we built like a whole little budget, whatever, coming here so that we could convince my parents, be like, look, we should be fine. And we're actually doing a lot better than what we even predicted.
That's really nice.
And
Cool.
that was just purely based off of lots of Googling and kind of, kind of thumb-sucking, but at the same time, lots and lots of research. But at the same time, research it's like it's theory. It's not in practice.
No.
So I think a part of us was always like, I really hope the numbers are right. Because you have no basis. We don't have family that lives here. We didn't know anybody.
You guys, no.
It was just us and our suitcases, and here we are. But that's the thing, is sometimes you do need to take a bit of a leap of faith. But the Dutch government and just the Dutch way is so fair that they wouldn't bring you here. And I mean, you guys would never bring anybody here if you thought they weren't going to make it. But South Africans don't think like that. It's like you must worry about anything and everything. And that's actually, I think, the biggest thing that's changed about me. If you knew Tiffiny last year and Tiffiny now, totally different person. I was always like stressed and on edge, and I don't know, now I'm just like,
I'm happy you're so chill.
Now I don't actually worry about much anymore.
Must be nice to experience that kind of feeling as well, that's possible to just, wake up, not be stressed about the day, go home, leave the stress at work, if there's any.
Yeah, it's like, it's a total different world, so no, it's been great.
All right, Tiffiny, thank you so much for what you've explained up until now. Could you give us a little bit of a scoop? What does your normal working day look like? I guess I'm really curious. I know what it's like, but for you it might be a little different than what it's for me. So I'm very curious about what are the highlights of your day.
So typical day as a recruiter, obviously get in my car, come to work. It's a very pleasant drive. I don't have to drive very far, which is a breath of fresh air from South Africa. I used to drive an hour and a half to work. Now it's a whole 7 minutes. It's tough.
Whole 7 minutes or just about 7 minutes?
No, it's a whole 7 minutes, so it's tough, right?
Yeah, it is really tough, I can imagine.
Listening to some music, get in, make myself a cup of coffee, say hello to everybody in the office, and then get kind of stuck into it. Going through the inbox, as you would know, is you get a fright every day, because there's so many people that are looking for opportunities in the Netherlands, and obviously we want to help as many people as possible. So it's really going through manually, because we're not like South Africa. We don't use algorithms. We look at every CV. So
there's algorithms?
in South Africa, you don't normally speak to too many people when you do the whole job thing. So you'll send your application through on like a portal, and if it doesn't pick up the keywords, you get an automatic rejection email about an hour later, or you hear nothing.
Wow.
So very different to recruiting in South Africa, let's say. Like here, we go through everything. We really try and find as many candidates as what we have opportunities, and I mean we're always building and looking to get new opportunities in for candidates. So going through all of that, helping my candidates that I've currently got in the system and have opportunities for working with all their documents, making sure everything's in check, getting things ready to apply them so that they've got the best possible chance of success. Checking in with our team, if we've had communication with team leads, because obviously that's something that's really important to us, because that's why we give candidates the better chance. I think chatting to people, doing all our intakes, talking to people, really getting to know our candidates and how we can help them and what they're looking for, where they've come from, what they can do, what they like to do in their free time. So it's like really, again, very holistic. We try and
building the relationship not only with the client, of course, but really with the candidate. What do you want? Like, it isn't always like, okay, this is what you can do, so this is what you're gonna do.
Not at all.
But it's also quite important to say, okay, you know, what can you do, but do you like that? And is that something that you want to pursue furthermore? So that's cool.
Yeah, and I mean that takes its time, but I enjoy that because we really, other recruiters are just going to call you when they have a position, be like, I think you match with my profile. We're not like that at all. We really try and invest time and really get to know each person so that we don't just give you some random job spec and then you're going to say no. I don't even know where you thumbsucked that from. No, we're not like that at all. So we put in the time to get to know people so that the opportunities we're giving them are well suited for what they can do, and it also gives them a much better chance of success. As you can see, I love talking, so love talking to people. So that's typically my day. Some days I talk to lots of people in a day, and some days I talk to less people. It really just depends. But that's kind of a day of Tiffiny as a recruiter. But it's a lot of fun, and I really like being able to help people.
Good. What is the thing that you like the most about the job that you're doing now as a recruiter?
Honestly, the speaking to people and just being able to connect to them and hear their stories, because each story, as much as there's a lot of overlap, each story is different from the next.
Of course.
Somebody's always got something unique to offer, and I've been surrounded by engineers for so long. Basically lived with them for 5 years. If it wasn't my boyfriend or his roommate or his girlfriend, my boyfriend's roommate's girlfriend, it's a mouthful. It was his friends, and all of our friends were engineers. So I love speaking to engineers. It's so interesting seeing how they think and what they can do, and so many of the engineers I've spoken to, it's their side projects. I think is my favorite part of my job, is speaking to them and hearing about their side projects. It's like my boyfriend's one of them. I'll never forget. He just comes randomly one day. I feel like building a 3D printer, and I just looked at him like, wow.
How even?
Like, how did you just randomly think one day, I feel like building a 3D printer? Like, I think maybe I feel like drawing something or watching some series or, I don't know, baking, like normal things. No, engineers aren't like that. It's like, some of the other engineers I've spoken to, and that is why I love what I do. So he's like, he built a sprinkler system, and it was a smart sprinkler system that comes on and does this, and then built some skylights or smart skylights in his roof, automatic dog feeder, just how? Imagine being that type of person that you just imagine it and do it. But it's not just, we imagine lots of things and we do lots of things, but
we can't do that.
No, I can't build, I can wire a plug. As I've said on LinkedIn, I can take a 2-prong plug and make it a 3-prong plug. That's
already quite advanced.
Well, that's about all I can do. And I know different 3D printing materials. It's about as technical as I get. But with them, it's they can imagine something, design it, and make it become a reality. Or they'll see something that's working, and there's nothing wrong with it, but they'll just make it so much better. So, yeah, normal people we see, okay, if it's broken, I'll fix it. Engineers don't work like that. Engineers, it can be better. And I love being able to speak to people and just, be exposed to the world of engineering and how they can just take something and make something else out of it or make it better. And it's really cool.
It's really nice to speak to the candidates then and to hear their stories about the technology that they really appreciate.
Yeah.
It's also something that, here in the Netherlands is it must be Walhalla for them.
Oh, for sure.
Because it's all very advanced here at all the companies, and must be really, really nice for an engineer to kind of, make that passion something that's, you can touch it here, for real.
And I mean, here you just see it everywhere. Whether it's the buses, all our EV buses, or the little smart, you guys have so many. The guys that come and cut the hedges. It's such a cute little car, and it comes and it cuts the hedges, and then you've got the street sweepers, and it doesn't seem like really cool technology, but it is, because it's something we've never seen before. Even the way you take your bins out. That must be so cool. Come with a crane and lift the bin and drop it over. It's just...
For us, it's really usual. That just happens. You don't think about it.
No, you don't. But it's, again, you can't blame you because you grew up with it. But for us, and I can only imagine, I get so excited about these things. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. And you literally don't know where to look. And for them, I can only imagine how exciting it is for them, because they can also understand the math behind it. I'm just like, that looks cool.
You're just from the outside, they'll inside the thing.
Yeah, they're like, no, speaking of this and this and this, and how they designed, and I'm just like, okay, cool, yeah. No,
just runs on.
I wish my brain could think like that, but I'm just like, that is cool.
Well, that's also something nice. Maybe it's just easier to say, okay, that's cool. I like that.
No, true. I suppose I've actually got it tough that you can't just look at something and say, that's cool. You know how the inner workings and
just enjoy it, that you can just see it as a simple thing.
No, for sure.
All right, okay. Okay, so we're gonna go back to Xelvin a little bit. You've experienced working for Xelvin for about 2 months right now, right?
Yeah, about 2 months.
What do you, prefer is not the right word. What do you like most about the place that you're working right now here with Xelvin compared to the company where you used to work in South Africa?
There's so many things, but just, Xelvin is so invested in, like I said, we're so invested in our candidates, but equally so, they're so invested in everybody that works here. The amount of support and training and interaction that I get on a daily basis is just, it's amazing. And I think it makes the world of difference, and it just makes coming to work so exciting because, there's just so much to look forward to. You learn something new every day, even if it's small. Sometimes it's big things, sometimes it's small things, and you're also just exposed to so much, whether it's going to meet a new client or being able to actually go and pick up candidates, and it's just the interaction everywhere within Xelvin, I think it's really special.
Cool, thank you. All right, so now we're gonna laugh, I hope.
No, you're probably going to laugh. So.
There's a few things that you already told me, when we are working, and sometimes at the lunch table you tell me a few funny stories. What is something that you really had to get used to that right now you're basically just laughing? Because you're like, oh my God, that was...
There's obviously going to be quite a few different things, but my biggest blunder was, again, buses, because we don't have them in South Africa. I'll never forget, my boyfriend had to take his bike in for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously he was cycling to work a lot more than I was cycling, because I didn't need to really cycle too much at the time. So he's like, just take the bus. Now, bearing in mind I'd never done a solo trip before, and we met each other at Piazza.
Mm.
And he's like, just catch the bus from there and meet me near Nectarama. So it's not a far trip.
No.
Anyway, I'm like, sure, I can do this. I go on the app. And then I see 40 something. But brain switches off, doesn't read the last number. I run to any random bus stop. Again, my brain doesn't know how to read the map. So it was by sheer fluke that I picked the right bus stop, but I climbed on the wrong bus.
Oh my
So
God,
I was meant to get on the 402, I got on the 401, but luckily I realised because I was reading all the stops on the board and I'm like, not on the bus, but I've already tapped on.
Yeah.
Naturally, anyway, luckily, I mean, it was a cheap mistake, but it doesn't matter. But I just felt so stupid because then I got off at Phillips Stadium and I'm like, I don't know where I am. And I called my boyfriend, I'm like, babe, I messed up. And he's like, well, I figured, considering you called me so early. He's like, where are you? I think I'm at Phillips Stadium. And I just looked. I mean, it's quite obvious. It's written Phillips Stadium all across.
Very, very big.
Anyway, but you know when you're in panic mode, your brain doesn't think
you don't
too
see
well. So anyway, I'm like, fine. I looked on the thing and it says, 402 goes to where I was meant to go. So it was the next bus I caught and I eventually landed up where I needed to be. But I just felt so stupid. I'm like, the mistake I made was not reading the number.
So small.
It was such a small thing, but when you're not used to it, it's amazing how it like literally just goes right over your head. And I saw 40 and I'm like, cool, that's the bus I'm taking. But anyways, now I know how it works and now it's so easy to do it. Yeah, like I said, there's so many things that you just look back at and you laugh. Like also learning how to ride a bike again. That was funny, and I was so wobbly in the beginning. It's like trying to put my hand out to indicate. I almost fell off every time. Now I'm like a pro. I'm like, this way, you need to go that way. It's like, it's such simple things now.
It becomes so easy if you're used to it.
But in the beginning, it was
just very swift movements. Like,
yes,
I'm gonna go here.
Because I was so scared I was gonna fall off. Because like I said, my boyfriend cycled in South Africa. I didn't.
Well,
so,
I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. I'm proud of myself too. Not that I cycle too much anymore, but
No.
I try when I can.
Of course. It's nice in the summer. When the sun is out, it's nice to cycle.
Oh, for sure.
But when now it's raining all day,
No.
I wouldn't like to be on a bicycle as well. Alright, so one interesting question. What is the biggest culture shock that you experienced when you moved here? Because we've already talked about a lot of things. I'm not really sure if we touched the culture shock moment yet.
No, so I think there's two. Obviously, it was a culture shock to see how many people speak English here. And obviously researching, say, 86 or whatever % of the population can speak fluent English, but you always think to yourself, I mean, the Netherlands is not a native speaking English country because you guys speak Dutch. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is going to be a little bit difficult. How are we going to communicate? Because we obviously had Afrikaans in school and it does really help. But now we haven't really used it much, so a little bit rusty. It's getting better, but I mean now it's more Dutch, so that's fine now. But in the beginning, I was so stressed and like, how are we going to talk to people? And it sounds so silly, but we just didn't realize the level of English here. Like there's been very few people that we haven't been able to speak to that don't understand us. Everybody can just switch. And I think that was the most amazing thing, the way that you guys just switch so easily. It's like it's effortless. But for me, my brain's like trying to translate, but I mean, yeah, it obviously gets a lot better. I think I'm getting a lot better at it now, but yeah, that was a shock. And bicycles. Nowhere else in the world looks like the Netherlands.
Well, we have the lanes and everything. That must be like a mind-blowing thing.
Or not even just the lanes. Like obviously the lanes, it's amazing because you've got your own lanes and robots, traffic lights, robots. Us South Africans say robots. But you have your own traffic lights for bicycles. That for me was also just like mind-blowing. And you've got your own like road signs for bicycles as well. And like all of these different bits of infrastructure that I've never seen in my life, and I didn't even know existed. So obviously, you know that the Netherlands cycles a lot, and most people are cycling around the Netherlands. But the level was the culture shock, and the infrastructure was the culture shock. I mean, that massive bicycle turning circle. I've never seen anything like that.
Around there?
Yeah, the one right here.
I've never actually been there. I've just driven like underneath it like once or twice.
But like actually driving around it, you think to yourself, where in the world is there a
Something
turning
like this
circle for bicycles? I mean, it's just, it's so crazy, but also so cool. People take their bicycles on the train. People take their bicycles on holiday. People are cycling, come rain, come shine, come snow. Taking the kids to school there with the little buckies.
Yeah.
That's the version of a Dutch buckie. South African buckie's a pickup truck, but here, no, it's a bicycle where you can fit all your kids in the front. It's like this box.
Yeah.
The kids are just sitting and so happy with life. Also, just seeing these tiny little kids cycling. I mean, they look like they've barely learned how to walk, and then they're cycling better than me. And the older people as well, like grannies that are really, really old, and grandpas that are really, really old, they're still cycling.
Well, they've been doing it for their entire life, probably.
And they're so fit and so healthy. And that was a culture shock and a half for us, because we don't see it.
No.
But I think it's really cool. Obviously, now that I'm not wobbly and can confidently cycle, it's not a problem at all. And now it's fun just to go, because honestly, sometimes driving a car is a pain because you have to find parking. You can park your bicycle anywhere. You want to go have a picnic in the park? Load up your saddlebags with your picnic stuff, cycle, and you can park your bike right next to you and have a picnic. It's really cool.
Nice. All right. Well, Tiffany, thank you so much for today, for this interview. I really enjoyed it. There was a few more things that I learned, a few things that I, of course, already knew. But so, yeah, I hope you guys also enjoyed it. I'm ready for more. I'm very curious for what we're going to do next.
Me too.
Probably it's going to be my turn to answer the questions.
It is, but it's just to tell you guys as much as we possibly can to get you excited about living and working in the Netherlands, because we are, but we want you to be too.
All right, so see you next time.
Yeah, till next time.
No way.